Alright, hold on 1 second. Hold on. Alright, the X-Men's coming to you live as I was doing some sharing there. So here we are. We're doing NFL recap tonight, Sunday night. Hope everybody had a nice day. Really cold weather out there. So we're doing the recap real quick. And we'll start top to bottom. I know everybody's going to talk about the Eagles, but there was other NFL teams that played today too. So the Indianapolis Colts beat the New England Patriots today, 25-24. Pretty good victory for the Colts. Jonathan Taylor, 25 carries, 96 yards. Michael Pittman, Anthony Richardson. It wasn't a great game. That was really actually wasn't a great game at all. 12 or 24, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Indianapolis Colts live on to kind of stay sort of alive with 6-7 with 4 to play. There's 17 games, so like 4 or 5 weeks left of this NFL regular season. So the Indianapolis Colts survive. Yeah, I mean, it did enough to win. And the New England Patriots still fought though. Drake May, he's not playing great this year, but they're still in the hunt. Even at 3-10, the Patriots, they're probably just gonna get a couple of good bit draft picks. Hunter Henry's on there. That's really all I really got out there. Uh, so really, I mean, it doesn't. You can't really break too much of that down. A kind of a okay win for the Colts as they stay alive at 6-7. Now let's go to the Bengals and the Steelers. Now, obviously, a high scoring game, and the Steelers did win it. Russell Wilson, 414 yards passing, 3 TDs, 1 pick. Najee Harris, 16 carries, 75 and a TD. George Pickens, 3 catches, 4 yards and a touchdown. Not bad. I mean, Joe Burrow, he's still fighting, man. It's a shame. Jamar Chase had a pretty decent game, 6 catches, 86 and a touchdown. But again, the Bengals I don't think defensively they're set to do anything as they've now pretty much eliminated themselves out of the playoff contention at 4-8. I don't think 5 games to go, they really don't have much of a chance at all to do it. Even if they ran the table, now the Bengals pretty much are out. But the Steelers at 9-3 look really good. They're probably going to get 12 wins, like I said earlier. Russell Wilson, 3 TDs on a pick. 414. That's Pittsburgh stay alive. Mike Tomlin never had a losing season. Mike Tomlin not having a losing season is pretty good too. The Steelers, they look pretty sharp there at 9-3. Staying right in the thick of things. They're staying right there with the Buffalo Bills, and the Chiefs are one game of not paying the refs from being right there with them. As I've said before, the Kansas City refs just paying some refs off and doing what they do. And Pittsburgh is 9-3 and staying alive pretty good. Russell Wilson proving that he still has a time in his quarterback life still, with the solid 414 yards passing. He's what, his like 12th year. I mean, he's staying in there. He's proven that he still can play in this league. So kudos to Russell Wilson. And Najee Harris for playing well, and George Pickens, all of them. Really a solid win for the Steelers. Close, but they did win. 9-3, looking good in that picture. Now we move on to the Chargers and the Falcons, just like I had said before. I had said this before also with the Chargers at 8-4 with their victory 17-13. Again, Kirk Cousins falling apart. They may want to think about bringing Michael Penix in, the Atlanta Falcons, at this point, because if they don't make some kind of a change on that team, our coach is probably going to get fired. If not, because Atlanta is now 6-6 after starting what was somewhat of a promising season for the Atlanta Falcons at 5-2. It fell apart, and Kirk Cousins has not even been hurt. So you have a lot of excuses here for the Atlanta Falcons as they're slowly playing themselves right out of the playoff picture. And he just isn't playing well. Michael Penix might have to go in there in the next. I honestly would start Penix in the next game at this point, because if the Atlanta Falcons can't get it done, they're going to be in big trouble. Now, Bijan Robinson had 26 carries, 102 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, they kept it close in a low-scoring game, but they ran the grind out game. And San Diego Chargers, or the Los Angeles Chargers, I'm sorry, they're now 8-4. So the LA Chargers are staying right in the thick of things. They pretty much have been very, very solid. Pretty decent win for the Chargers. Even though they lost last week. I forget who they lost to. The Ravens. Even though they had lost that game to the Ravens, I mean, now they just kind of gained it back a little bit just by winning today, and the Ravens losing to the Eagles, which we'll talk about in a little bit. The Chargers at now 8-4, looking really decently solid. I mean, Jim Harbaugh's got them winning. He's got them believing. They didn't play a great game offensively, but they played defensively well enough to win. And now the Chargers sit at 8-4, which is really, really key in this component. So we'll see where we go with the Chargers. I'm kind of with the Chargers a little bit with that. I think that they're a pretty solid team. I mean, they'll probably be big in the playoffs. Hopefully, they pull off an upset and beat somebody. So next game we're gonna go to is the Seahawks and the Jets. Now, I thought the Jets might be able to pull it off. They almost did too. But Seattle inevitably has won and staying alive in the picture. Seattle, the last 2 weeks have proven that they at least belong. They're just so up and down. It's hard for me to tell with Seattle Seahawks. Kenneth Walker had 16 carries, 49 yards. Not a great game. Najigba, 4 catches, 74 yards. Judah Smith, 1 TD pass, 208 yards, proving it was a defensive game. Aaron Rodgers, the fraud as I call him, again, 185 yards, 39 pass attempts. I don't even understand why you needed to throw the ball 39 times. You have a running back that's capable of doing better, and all he's worried about is getting it to Davante Adams. So all Davante Adams did was go to the Jets to stat pad, not to win. It's proven because they're the exact same record as the Raiders. They did nothing different. And now the Jets are 3-9. They just are a bad team. Aaron Rodgers made them worse. And now they have to go look for another quarterback. There's no excuses. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, 185 yards passing. That's nothing. Again, I said this before. They gave up 2 first-round picks for him. And now the Jets are really in infamy at 3-9. And they're just never going to ever get it. They're never going to. I don't think they're ever really going to become a good football team. I really don't believe that. And God knows who they're going to get to coach them next year. Whoever coaches them next year, I wouldn't even, who knows. Breece Hall, 12 rushes, 60 yards. Kenneth Walker. It was a defensive battle, but Seattle pulled it off. And Seattle's actually staying in the NFC playoff race. I think they're leading the division, I'll be honest with you. I think they're up on the Rams by 1 game as well. So kudos to the Seattle Seahawks. They're staying in it. Geno Smith, he's playing pretty good. I mean, it wasn't 206 yards, not great, but they won. They found a way to win the game, which is making them 7-5 and staying in the playoff thick of things. And we'll see where they're going. Also, this one I heard was a little bit ugly. The Texans and the Jaguars, 23-20. Texans stay alive at 8-5. And they're still pushing at 8-5, which is good. but they beat Jacksonville. They probably should have beat them by more than that, but obviously a win is a win. The Jags are still going to compete. So, obviously that's what happens. CJ Stroud, 22 of 34, 242 yards and a touchdown. That's a pretty solid game for him. He's actually hasn't had that many great games recently, which kind of had me worried what he was actually going to do as a quarterback. Joe Mixon has really proved to be the MVP of their team, really. Has 20 carries, 101 yards and a touchdown. Joe Mixon's really been good. People talk about the Aaron Joneses who didn't do great today. They talk about Saquon. I get it. He's running, but you know what? He's not the only running back that's been running. So, he's just been running a little bit more. But based off the competition of teams, I think that guys like Mixon and Derrick Henry didn't play great today. I gotta actually look at that stat line to see what he did. But today, that the Eagles proved that they belong. But Joe Mixon, 20 carries, 101 yards, and a touchdown. That's pretty solid. That's a pretty solid stat for them. The Houston Texans now stay alive at 8-5. They're still in the thick of things, at least to get in the playoffs, I think. Which is, maybe they go in good. I don't know what they're going to do. There could be lots of moving parts that happen between now and the playoffs if they can get in. Kudos for them pulling it off. D'Amico Ryans has still got a minute. I don't believe that they're out yet, even though they've fell apart. Obviously Stephon Diggs has been a complete disaster, and he got hurt. Not surprising, and that was the end of him. So, anyway, so we'll move on to the next game. The Arizona Cardinals, they fell short. This is another thing. Everybody talks about the Eagles, the Eagles, the Eagles, the Eagles, the Eagles, the Eagles. And we'll get to that, and I'll talk about it. But like I've said before, the Minnesota Vikings still stand there at 10-2 as well, because the Vikings did win. They beat the Arizona Cardinals. Obviously, you're going to say the Eagles are going to be a better team than the Vikings, even though they're tied at 10-2. But at the end of the day, the Vikings are still 10-2. They won 23-22 today. Arizona's now 6-6. They're falling quickly. They're probably going to not make the playoffs, I don't think. What little chance they had, they didn't. I don't know what's really wrong with them. I think that, Kyler Murray's there, but I don't think they really has anybody receivers to throw to. It doesn't seem that way, does it? I mean, maybe I'm losing something here when I say this. But, Sam Darnold, 21 of 31, 235 and 2 T's. Not too bad. Justin Jefferson, 7 catches, 99 yards. Go into the numbers in this, because I really don't know. I mean, I'm not sure how the Cam Akers. I don't even know how Cam Akers is still in the league. Johnny Munt got a TD, and Aaron Jones scored a receiving touchdown, which is the reason the Vikings won. Sam Darnold, 235, 21 and 31. That's not bad. That's not terribly bad. Minnesota at 10-2. They're staying right in the thick of things with the Eagles. So they're tied at 10-2. It may go that way the whole way down the road. I don't know how this is going to end up. It's probably going to be like a very close ending between Green Bay, Minnesota, and the Eagles. Regardless of people saying the Eagles are the best of the three, that we're still, even though they beat Green Bay, I still think that this is a tight 3-way race between the Vikings, the Eagles, and the Packers, and possibly the Lions might falter too. I don't know. I really don't know what's going on, how that's going to work. I think Green Bay plays Detroit this Thursday, so that could kind of have a little bit of an effect on it, but we'll see. Also, with another team that's been playing pretty good too, that nobody really expected and lost a couple ones they weren't supposed to. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs though. Are now 8-5, and that's the Washington Commanders. So now the Washington Commanders, huge win today against the Titans. I don't really know what to think of the Commanders, because I don't know. I think it may be a little time too late for the Commanders at this point. I mean, they did come out and they pulled the victory off, and they're 8-5 now. And beyond Brian Robinson, great game, 16 for 103. Terry McLaurin proving that he belongs in the league, even though the Eagles fans said he didn't. 8 catches, 73 yards, and 2 TDs, still there. Jaden Daniels, 206, 3 touchdowns. Not great numbers, but enough to say that they're at 8-5. The Commanders do belong, at least hopefully in the playoff contention. I'm not sure if they're going to make it. I think I'd have to look at the playoff standings. I haven't really been able to do that. But Jaden Daniels played good. The Commanders pulled it off. They pulled 42 points on the board. It's kind of crazy when you look at it. Let's look at the whole stat line. I think Christopher Rodriguez, 1 TD. Jaden Daniels scored 1. Tarek McLaurin had 2. Zach Ertz had 1. Zach Ertz got a touchdown for the Commanders. Commanders surviving at 8-5. I mean, they're looking okay. I mean, it wasn't beating a good team, but they're still there in the thick of things. So the Commanders have a chance. And then we'll go to the next game. This isn't a game. These couple two here, I'm not going to really look at too much, but the Buccaneers win in overtime, 26-23. The Buccaneers' chances of getting in are very, very slim right now. I don't think they're going to get in. They're way too far back as far as I'm concerned. But they're still winning a couple games here and there. Baker Mayfield 235, 2 picks. B Urban, whoever B Urban is, 25 carries, 152 yards, 1 TD. The running backs obviously still proving they belong in this league, even though they give money to the quarterback. Mike Evans must have came back today, 8 catches, 118 in the TD. I don't know if it's a little time too late. If Tampa Bay can run the table, maybe they get in. I don't know if they will or not, though. It's going to be tough for Tampa. Tampa's going to really have to push hard. They got to get better out of Baker Mayfield, too. He can't just be throwing for 235 and TD and 2 picks. He can't be throwing the interceptions. He's got to find a way to get the ball to the receivers, not the other team. They won today, but you're playing Carolina, the third worst team in the NFL, in my opinion. So we'll see where that goes. Tampa Bay 5-6, they beat them. The next one, another playoff hopeful, maybe possibly staying in it. But they already lost me when the Eagles blew them out the way they did. I don't think they should have let the Eagles blow them out like that. And I just think that Sean McVay is a terrible coach. But the Rams did win today, 21-14 against a bad Saints team. Which again, getting a win makes them 6-6 now in the season. Stafford, 183 on CTAs, Kyrie Williams, 15 catches, 104 to TD. Puka Nacua getting it done. The Rams stay alive. They're, 6-6 now. They might actually have a little bit of a chance to get into the playoffs, but very slim if that. I don't think any of that's really going to really happen for them. But kudos to them. And then now we'll talk about the Eagles and the Ravens, since I know everybody's anticipating my comments about the Eagles-Ravens game. The truth of the matter is that Saquon's there. You just gotta hope that he doesn't get hurt, because I'll tell you what, he has been playing MVP type football. He's definitely up there. I put him in the top 2, and today was the MVP game. And, the crazy part about it is, even with the Eagles winning that game, though, which they barely won, by the way, Jalen Hurts didn't play that great, though. 118 yards. I mean, what did he might have ran one in earlier or something, but that doesn't, they win, and they're 10-2. They beat the Ravens, so they did beat a good team, finally, out of the 6 teams that they didn't play, and I don't think they play anybody next week. They're sitting at 10-2. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, but Jalen Hurts only 118 yards passing is nothing. Lamar Jackson played better than Jalen Hurts by a mile. He had 237 yards and 2 TDs. Derrick Henry just didn't get into the end zone. The defense of the Eagles is pretty good right now. So, they did play well. A.J. Brown, 5 catches, 66 yards. Zay Flowers, 3 for 74. They couldn't get him in the end zone. Ravens couldn't find a way in the end zone. That's what the stat line tells me right there. And they're 8-5 now. I don't even know if the Ravens are going to be they're going to be playing a wild card weekend the way they're playing right now. The Philadelphia Eagles 10-2, they got it done. Saquon got it done for them. The defense of the Eagles got it done. They figured out a way of winning a game against a decent team. So, that's what it is. I mean, they're 10-2. We'll see what happens. There's still 5 more games to play in the season, and everybody's on their own path. Obviously, if Saquon's there, if he's there, I think they have a chance. If Saquon gets hurt at any point, they're in big trouble. because they're pretty much even with all of those other teams like the Vikings, Packers, Lions. They're even with every one of them. They could get eliminated by any one of those three teams, or it could go the other way. They could beat all three. I don't know, but that's what the part of the NFL that's really exciting to watch that kind of stuff because those things are going to happen. But that's where it is. So right now you have the 10-2 Eagles, the 10-2 Vikings, the 9-3 Packers, and then you have the Lions at what 11-1 or 12-1. I mean, it's pretty interesting in the NFC, and then the AFC. Obviously, the Kansas City Chiefs. Then you have Buffalo, and then you have the Texans are hanging around, Ravens, the Steelers. So that's what we're really looking at right now. If you break all the numbers down. Now tonight's game has a lot of meaning to it too, because we have San Francisco at Buffalo soon, but I'm probably gonna get off here soon. Buffalo Bills minus 6.5, 45. Probably take the under because there's a lot of snow out there. I don't think they're gonna get over 45, but I would probably say take Buffalo with the money line. I think it's gonna be closer than 6. I think San Francisco is not going to go out because if they can stay in at a 6-6, they're in the race with Seattle and the Rams. So it's very crucial. Tonight might be a really game. This is the make or break for the. This is make or break season for the Niners tonight, though. I think if San Francisco can't get it done against Buffalo, then that probably could be it for San Francisco tonight. But we'll see what happens. It's still a game. It's in the cold weather. Obviously, San Francisco they don't play cold weather in San Francisco, so we'll see where that goes. Obviously. And then tomorrow night I think I forget whose tomorrow night's game is. Thursday night's Packers Lions, but who's tomorrow night? Tomorrow night is Browns and Broncos. That's actually not a bad game though. I mean, I don't know. We'll see, but that's really the breakdown. So we've got number one's Detroit, Eagles, Minnesota tied, and then we have Green Bay. There's 4 teams in the NFC right now. Then in the AFC, you've got Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Houston on both sides. That's what's looking at right now. Houston obviously is the weakest of the 4 because they don't have Diggs, but I don't think they need Diggs. I think that if they're going to be a better team, they're going to win without Stephon Diggs. I don't think that Diggs makes that much of a difference as much as people think. Buffalo Bills. I target Buffalo Bills. They play later. Buffalo. This is would be a big win for them tonight because next step would probably be, 10-3, and they're staying right there with the Kansas City Chiefs, and they have one up on them. I like to see the Bills ultimately get home field and beat the Chiefs, just so we can stop hearing about how great Mahomes is because he hasn't been playing great this year. He hasn't. But we'll see where it ends up at. There's a lot of football to be played, and we'll see. Pretty soon, I think I'm going to start doing NBA breakdowns too. But I have been so busy; it's been hard for me to get on here and do these things. But we'll see where we go. I'm going to go watch that game, a little bit of that late game. I hope everybody enjoyed this tonight. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to watch. And I'm going to get back online maybe tomorrow night. I'm going to look at everything, see how much I get done tomorrow. And then we'll try to go run it back. X-Man out for now.